Hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my world. So please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing for those of you who have. Now, before I start with this video or with the story rather, I just want to straighten something out. When we speak of physical abuse, it doesn't necessarily have to be slapping, kicking, and all those type of things, the usual. When I said that the guy was pushing me on walls, that was physical. When I said he was twisting my arm, that was physical. When I said he was throwing me on the ground, that was physical. That was physical abuse in the sense that he did those things intentionally. And I got bruised, I got hurt from all those actions that he did. So, yeah. Now, continuing from where I left off in part one, the guy did continue to leave, come back the following morning. It became normal. And I stopped crying. Like I said, I stopped crying. I was hurt. And every time he left, I couldn't sleep. Even though I wasn't crying, but I couldn't sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. I could I would just think, try to call him even though I know his phone is off. And then when it comes to around 4 a.m., 5 a.m., I would go outside and sit outside just to wait for him to come back. That was my life basically in regarding that. Now, the time that I decided to take some action or to attempt something was when he came back at around 5 again in the morning. And then when he went inside the house, I went inside the car just to sit, just to sit and think and, think of how terrible my life was. And when I got inside the car, I saw some wrappers, condom wrappers. It was about three of them. The condoms were not there. And when I saw these, I was hurt. Like, I was so hurt. I started crying. Remember, I wasn't even crying anymore. But when I saw those, I started crying because even though I knew he's probably busy, but seeing that confirmed it for me. And that confirmation was so unexpected that it sort of added to whatever I was already, and it just ruined me in a way. And then when I asked him about them, he said, because when I asked him at first, I was like, did you have sex? And then he was like, no, he wouldn't do that. And then I told him I saw condoms. Then he was like, yeah, we attempted, but we didn't actually go through with it. So he tried to convince me, and what could I have done? I just said okay, because there's really nothing I could have done, even if he says yes. I felt like I was stuck with him anyway. So when he left the following weekend, though, I called a friend of mine and I was like, dude, a friend of mine from Eastern Cape. It was an old varsity friend. So I just decided to phone her, and then I told her about what's happening, and then she was like, dude, you're strong. You're very strong. You can leave. You don't need a man to survive, because I was scared that what will I do alone with the kids? How will I handle all of this, because he was helping me out there and there. So how was I gonna handle everything now without him in my life? That's how I felt. And when my friend told me I can do it, I believed her. And I feel like that was the one phone call or the words that I needed to hear at that time. So after that phone call with my friend, I called a colleague. I was like, dude, please sort out a place for me. I need a place to stay, a new place to stay with my kids. And then I sort of summarized everything. The guy organized a place for me. And then I told him to tell the landlord that I don't have money. I'll pay month end, because it was middle of the month. And then luckily he found a place. The landlord understood, and luckily as well, the place was fully finished. So I just took my clothes, my kids' clothes, my clothes, and a few things that I thought I would need as well, and left everything else. So I moved to the place on a Saturday. because I thought he was gonna come back and he didn't. He didn't come back the usual 5 a.m. that he normally comes back. He would normally come back at. So I had to ask again the colleague to organize transport to transport my things and us as well to the place because the car wasn't there for that. And then I got that, and then it went to Sunday morning, and guy hadn't called. So I figured if he hadn't called, it means he wasn't back yet. Because if he was back, he would have called when he saw that I wasn't there. So I called him myself on Sunday. I was like, dude, where are you? Then he was like, he's in this other town that I've never been at. Imagine. And then I was like, I'm breaking up with you. That's what I said over the phone. That I'm breaking up with you and I need the car. I just said it like that. Then he was like, okay. Like he didn't really take me seriously, I guess. And then later on though, that same Sunday in the evening, because he was still not back, I went to the police station and then I asked the police. I basically told them what's happening, that I'm breaking up with this guy and I need their assistance in case things escalate or, things become something else, because I'm scared of him. That's what I said. So I called him again. I was like, meet me at the police station. I'm at the police station with the kids. He came to the police station and then I told him, we are done and I need the car key. He refused to give me the car keys. And then it's when the police intervened basically to try and get the car key. They tried to talk to him, that didn't work. They tried to use force in a way. It also didn't work because he was fighting them. That guy had strength that I didn't even know about. Imagine. So yeah, while they were busy fighting or rather, doing whatever it is that they were doing, the key dropped. So when the key dropped, I took the key, took the kids, went inside the car and drove off. And then the following morning, it was already a Monday. So I went to work. Then after work, I went back to the police station because I wanted to to do a protection order. Then he also came. They called him. Where, not at the police station. I don't know. I really don't remember where they do that, but then where they do that. So yeah, we did a protection order. Everything was agreed on. It was good. And then from that day onwards, guy stopped working. He stopped going to work. And every morning, the police told me he would go there to say that she left this and this. Ask her to go fetch it. You can even accompany her since there's a protection order. And we would they would tell me that it was useless thing. She would say maybe I left a diaper, those things for the baby, or I left a paper for whatever, like such things. Every morning he would do that. He would go to the police station. The police even asked about what's happening because the guy goes there every morning, every morning. So guy stopped working and apparently he wasn't sleeping. That's what he was telling them. That's what he would tell me over the phone. And he would call everyone on the phone to tell them about me, to say that this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. He would also stalk me. He started stalking me to the extent that people were scared to associate with me because he would threaten them. I don't know how he would get their numbers, but he would call them, threaten them, even if it's a colleague. Or he would also threaten me to say that if he sees me with any guy or he hears that I'm dating anyone, he's going to kill that guy. And he would, like, the way he was, it's like he changed from how he was. He changed into a totally different person. I didn't recognize him. I didn't recognize his voice. I didn't recognize who he became as well. Because even though what happened, but the way he was after, it scared me so much as well. And then now it came to a point where I wasn't coping with the stalking. I wasn't coping with anything. And at the same time, I wasn't able to cry at my place. I wasn't able to not be fine at my place because I was staying with the kids. I needed to create a happy environment for them, even though I was dying inside. So even at work, when someone asked, dude, are you fine? I would cry without even saying anything. I would cry. Like I was messed up. I wasn't able to deal with this whole thing. And on top of that, I had to also, because, when people found out that we broke up, maybe at the crash or wherever, they would feel like it's my fault because he was the nicest person there is. He was nice to people. He was very nice to everyone. So everyone that we had come across would actually not believe me when I say the things that I'm saying about him, until a point where I just stopped and I was like, it's fine. Believe what you must, but I don't want him near my kids. That sort of thing. And then a colleague of mine suggested that I take the kids home. I did that, and then once when I came back, it was the first time that I had to deal with myself. I started crying. I started dealing with it. I started praying because I felt so useless, because people didn't want to associate with me because of him. I didn't have family. I didn't have friends. I couldn't talk to anyone. The police always came and said, "You must go and sleep somewhere else today because the guy is on our, like, he's been trying to look for where you are staying." So it was so uncomfortable because I didn't feel protected. I was alone. I was so alone. I didn't have anyone. And even though taking the kids home did make a difference in the sense that I could deal with things, but I wasn't coping. I was praying every night. I was praying. I was crying every night. And then there was a point where he kept quiet. I thought maybe he left. And then this other time, I asked my colleagues because I wanted to go to a town to buy some groceries and some stuff, and I couldn't drive the car. So a colleague of mine drove the car for me while I was in the passenger seat with other two colleagues of mine. When we came to this other town, I don't know how, guy called me before we had just parked to say that he wants a lift. I don't know where he's going, but he wants a lift after weeks of not talking. And then when we got to the place, to the mall, I parked the car. I mean, Guy parked, this colleague of mine parked the car, and Guy came knocking on the window of the car, in the driver's window. And I don't know where he was coming from. It was just so scary for me seeing him. And he was a mess. I couldn't recognize him anymore. And he knocked on the window. I told the colleague, don't open the window. Colleague opened the window. He took the key from the ignition. He came to the passenger seat. He slapped me so hard. And at that time, the car was parked in front of a shop that was still being built at a mall. So he slapped me. My colleagues went to him. They tried to speak to him. He refused. He went inside that shop that we were parked in front of. He took a break. He threw it at the windscreen of the car. And then after that, he went inside again. And then he took a spade. And everyone was watching. The security guards were watching. I went to one of the security guards. They couldn't help me. And then he took a spade and he hit everything. He hit everything that was a window that had a glass on it and on the car. And everyone was just watching. No one was helping. Everyone was just watching. And then when he went inside again, I don't know to get what, there are some workers from this other shop nearby. They came to me. They were like, "Come to our storeroom." We called the police. And then when I came back, when I came back, my car was a mess. It was ruined. And luckily, I had the protection order inside the car, as bad as it was, because I don't know where he got a knife. Even everything was a mess. The wheels were torn apart, the windows, the body of the car. And after that, like before that, actually, something happened. The previous day when he did this, I got a phone call from one of my insurance companies because guy knew I didn't have insurance. I'd normally just reverse it because we needed money. So I got a call from an insurance company, and then they were like, should they insure me? Then I was like, yeah. Then they were like, immediately or month end. So I was reluctant to say month end. I mean, sorry, immediately. But then I was like, yeah, immediately. And at that time, I didn't pay anything. So when this incident happened, I was already insured with that insurer, with that insurance company. And that's how, when Guy was arrested, because he was arrested and he was busy saying, "I love you, baby," and all sorts of things. But things ended badly. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a part three. A part three is coming. Bye. Please subscribe.